Ladies and gentlemen, the Durham Pro Special Counsel will continue with an indictment of the Steele subsource. I don't think they're going to wrap up. I could be wrong, but there are reports saying, well, the grand jury is wrapping up, and John Durham doesn't have any plans to continue with another grand jury. This, I think, I think that's not entirely accurate because if he gets an indictment or if he gets a conviction, there's 5 counts that Danchenko, the Steele subsource, was indicted under. He's now filed today, Durham, a motion to utilize various lies about the tape, a certain tape that they accused Trump of being in, which is actually probably a weekend activity of Hunter or Bill. But they said, okay, John Durham argued Friday that lies Igor Danchenko told the Federal Bureau of Investigation, in particular misleading on the salacious and unfounded tape allegations about former Donald Trump, be allowed as evidence at his trial next month. Well, of course, they should be allowed, and they very likely will be allowed. But they have enough evidence to show that he was working with a public relations executive in the Clinton campaign, or linked to both Bill and Hillary. There's endless amounts of data and evidence to show that the Federal Bureau of Investigation just needed a pretext. They utilized this man. It's within the court documents and indictments, okay? Nobody even really disputes the facts. So the Mueller probe, for example, was a broad, sweeping, 2-year investigation where you had millions of documents and hysteria and endless apoplectic laser-focused media coverage where Trump was accused of working with the Kremlin. It never happened. And they still will never agree to just admit that they were wrong. Well, we found out that there was a concerted effort to convince people to move away from Clinton to Trump. No, there wasn't. The DNC never gave their computer servers to the U.S. government. We only have high to moderate confidence that anyone did anything. The intelligence agencies read the ODNI and DHS reports. I think I'm like the only person on the planet who's ever read them. They come with warranty disclaimers, and they're highly to moderately confident about everything they claim. But anyway, that's another story. The Mueller probe found nothing. The Durham probe has actually found an FBI official who pled guilty. The Sussman trial probably should have just focused on another trial, but the Sussman trial was the first time in a court of law where Robbie Mook and Mark Elias, 2 people, basically betrayed Hillary Clinton. It's never happened before in a court of law, okay? Durham got that to take place. Now, they say, well, he's going to wrap up at the end of the year. I don't think he's going to wrap up. I think there will be more indictments if he indicts Danchenko. I'm sorry, if he convicts Danchenko, if he convicts the Steele subsource, because the Steele dossier is completely fabricated, only full of lies, and it was purchased by Clinton to utilize against Trump. Nobody knows this because nobody really cares on the left, or the media doesn't really care about this. They're used to just doing things they would never accept being done to them or to the Democratic Party. Hit subscribe, by the way, to this channel. We're almost at 200,000 subs. We're going to zoom past it very soon. The trial is in October, ladies and gentlemen. I think future indictments and the future of the Durham probe rests upon this trial. If he doesn't get any indictments if he doesn't get a conviction out of 5 indictments, yeah, the probe will probably wrap up. He'll get 1 conviction. Okay, he should get at least 1 conviction because the evidence is overwhelming. We already knew a lot of the evidence within the indictment, but the indictment shows clear attempts at deception, and then you have attempts by the Federal Bureau of Investigation to kind of hide that deception. So that's a little tricky part that Durham has to go through. But hit subscribe. I told you, did I not tell you, ladies and gentlemen, in the comments section, and also please share the latest shorts, me lifting 110-pound dumbbells, but also James Comey speaking. The Honorable James Comey. I have the utmost respect for the Honorable James Comey. He's in the short. Watch that short where he explains that Clinton did commit crimes. And some people are above the law. He says it, not me. But it's the short on this channel. Subscribe to H.A. Goodwin's other channel and the Stock Market Crash channel. People, on October 1st, I will be doing 4 segments on the Stock Market Crash channel, 4 segments on H.A. Goodman's other channel, 4 segments on this channel. You'll get 12 segments a day of yours truly. If you can even stand that. I don't even know if I could stand myself for 12 videos a day. But every video I have, I'm reading from the Washington Examiner now. The last 2 videos today, I make some bold statements, but they're all backed up. ABC News, CNN, PolitiFact. Trump has essentially been cleared. Okay, if you see, oh, that's not the true. No, he's been cleared. They have all the documents. They know the legal statutes. They haven't indicted him. That's because he didn't commit a crime, and there's too much that a president has. There's too much authority that a president has to declassify or classify at will, even verbally. Even thinking about it to an extent, Trump is right. I mean, people found this, absurd, but these are the rules that Democrats have played by for a long time. Also, 30 million documents from President Obama being unclassified is complete nonsense. We haven't even seen them in some kind of digital or internet database. So he hasn't abided by the National Archives demands. They were supposed to be public record. Now they will never be public record. So that was just hiding in plain sight. Democrats utilize the system, and never Trump Republicans also. You could see like they sell stocks right after classified briefings before the market tanks. But they use the system to basically bend, break laws, and hide in plain sight. They use the system to investigate Trump because he didn't commit a crime. With Trump, they can't find a crime. Okay, if somebody says, well, that's absurd, he's a criminal, why hasn't he been indicted? Why hasn't Trump been indicted? You could say, well, why hasn't Clinton? Well, watch the short. James Comey will explain why Clinton wasn't indicted. He said that she broke laws, but, no reasonable Democratic prosecutor would indict. And I want a Hillary Trump 2024. Hit subscribe to this channel. I've been telling you a lot of things, ladies and gentlemen. Did I not tell you that the Dow would get down below 30,000? I've been saying that for over a year now. I said the market would tank. It's tanked. And nobody was saying that. Very few people on YouTube were saying that in September of 2021. That's why I have no bells and whistles. I have my sports icons and behind me in this studio, and then another studio I have with all the Life magazines and Sports Illustrated magazines. And so I don't have bells and whistles. It's just my writing on hagoodman.com. You can read my writing in The Hill, the Huffington Post, Salon, the Jerusalem Post, other publications, and Federalist, and just my analysis. The economy is in free fall. It's completely tanking. And you have a situation, ladies and gentlemen, where Democrats only have investigations of Trump because they don't have a track record. So if they can justify the endless pontificating and preaching and judgment and condemnation and desire, this insidious desire they have to indict an innocent man, where are the crimes? It's not difficult. So it's either one of two things. Either he's this mastermind and this criminal that just gets away with everything, or he didn't commit a crime. The entire Democratic Party, along with loyalists in government, are now caught between a rock and a hard place. If they don't investigate him for potential crimes he didn't commit, or just under the pretext of one day finding a crime he committed, then they're left with him just going up in approval rating and Democrats continuing to tank because the economy is in freefall. So they have no choice but to continue to investigate Trump. It's an obvious public relations and political stunt, but see, the way the Democratic Party works is, well, if everyone's saying something, it must be right. So everyone was saying that Hillary would defeat Trump in a landslide. That never happened. Everyone was saying Trump colluded with the Kremlin. That never happened. Everybody said WMD. That never happened. Gulf of Tonkin, Bay of Pigs. So you can look at like a lot. People say a lot of things. Media converges and promotes nonsense. And at the end of the day, we find out it's just not true. And so the Durham Probe Special Counsel can indict a lot more people. Let's just say, for example, if they don't get a conviction, there will probably almost certainly be another special counsel from a competent attorney general under a Republican president, hopefully Trump, to see what really went on. You can't just look. Everyone knows that Democrats and loyalists within the Federal Bureau of Investigation. And the FBI is full of good people. I mean that. You could probably say that Comey and Strzok and McCabe did very good things. Aside from setting up and framing Trump, they probably did a lot of great things for the country. Who knows? I'm assuming they didn't spend their entire careers setting up and framing Trump. So, I mean, the FBI does do good things. The FBI's most wanted list, they go after, a whole bunch of, major criminals, both within the country and abroad. But the thing is, once you have intel agencies enter politics, it's different from J. Edgar Hoover. He was political, but he had the goods on both sides. You have people now siding with the Democratic Party because they don't like Trump. You can't do that as a government official. And although there are a lot of good people, wonderful people at the Federal Bureau of Investigation, you can't side with one political party. Because you have media that's all too willing to just accuse Trump of everything under the sun. The man is not corrupt. If he is corrupt and you find that to be an absurd statement, what did he do that you could prove in a court of law? And if you say, well, there's a lot of things you could prove, then why hasn't he been indicted? It is the life's mission. It is the central focus. It is infused within the hearts and the spirits of every liberal prosecutor in New York and D.C. and everywhere else to imprison Trump. They would get the Nobel Peace Prize from every, they would get Pulitzers, they would get, wonderful, morally superior, highly educated liberals would name their firstborn after the person that prosecutes and convicts Trump. It ain't happening because he didn't commit a crime. Now, they could possibly indict him in 23 because Mashed Potato Brains Joe actually did commit crimes with Hunter. Like, it's right within those emails. Like, you would have to read the New York Post and Daily Mail and Federalist. If you don't read the New York Post, the Daily Mail, the Federalist, other publications, then you don't know that these crimes were committed. If you only read CNN and MSNBC, you think that the walls are closing in. The walls have been closing in every day since 2016 with Trump. So you have social media algorithms suppress, like, you can look at it. The New York Post was actually suspended on Twitter. The New York Times was not suspended or the Washington Post was not suspended for running stories based on current and former officials. Current and former officials does not mean Trump is guilty of anything. Okay, they don't have anything on Trump. They said, oh, he gave classified data to the Kremlin. They don't have any. That's according to current and former officials. They don't have anything on this man. And they never really did. And, you had 30 years of endless scandals with the Clintons, and then they had to fabricate a dossier because Trump's been in the limelight for 30 to 40 years also. But they don't have anything on the man. So then they fabricated a dossier. And this subsource, October 11th, this subsource is now going to be convicted almost certainly on at least one of the 5 counts. And Durham doesn't want his legacy to be tarnished this way. He already put a former bureau official in prison for really despicable acts. So he knows exactly what went on. Even William Barr knows that Crossfire Hurricane and all that was like, even William Barr knows that they set up and framed Trump. The interesting thing about like this public relations monstrosity is that you have journalists in like 20 publications who could never look at Hunter's emails and the accusations against or the Mueller probe report. Mueller probe report states there's no evidence that Trump colluded. Hunter's emails actually show clear felony, and you'd have to read the Federalist, you have to read the New York Post and Daily Mail. They publish Hunter's actual emails. They show clear graft and felony schemes and bribery. It's right there. Okay, how can you use your influence on the company's behalf? Give 10% to Joe. All of these things. And so, but you have like journalists in 20 publications, 20 to 30 really, they can't possibly admit their political side is corrupt, has any corruption, or is more corrupt than Trump. They can't possibly admit that. You're not dealing now with truth or reality. You're dealing with public relations and propaganda. They're trying to make enough, as many people as possible distrust Trump, while at the same time limit any distrust or suspicion of Democrats. That's their only job. It's not working. It's not working because if you actually read public record information, you know that the opposite is true. They don't have anything on Trump. That's why they're investigating him. They're investigating him because they need enough people to believe that one day this man's going to go to prison, even though the reality is they don't have anything to convict him on. With Hunter and Hillary, it's the opposite. And I want Donald Trump 2024. I'd vote for Trump, obviously, and I explain a million times why on this channel. But with Hunter, they're investigating barely to just say, well, we're doing our job, barely. But there are crimes there. And if they can say they're investigating, they can investigate until the Messiah comes and then just say, well, we didn't find, as a plea deal. Here's a plea deal. Here you go, public, American public. Some people are above the law. Here's a plea deal with Hunter. But you already have the 150 suspicious financial transactions. Anyway, give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. There will be more indictments after a conviction. I don't think he's going to end. I could be wrong, but I don't think he's going to end the special counsel after a conviction. Give me your thoughts below. Hit subscribe right now. Thank you. Be here tomorrow, by the way, for a very important segment at 9:30 a.m. Pacific on this channel.